We live, man. This is the Todd Capital Oglesby and Scott radio show, and we're recording. We got this brother live on scene. We never seen anybody do a podcast interview live on scene, but this brother.
Charles, I'll walk you through a little bit of it, and I'm glad I can kind of record this. So I actually own this entire street right here, Charles. This is one of the many streets that I
That's dope,
own.
man.
So I'll turn the camera around. This is a 6 unit apartment complex right here, Charles.
Yep.
And then we're actually doing some construction on this building right here. So this is a 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom, 1 bath house with a two 1 bedroom, 1 bath garage apartments in the back. So that's 9 units. And then we'll walk down the street. So I own this house next door. That's 10 on one street. And then I own this White House next to it. That's 11 on one street. And then you have this White House. It has a garage apartment behind it. That's 13 on one street. And then it's a duplex right beside it with a garage apartment. That's that's 17 to 18 on one street.
That's crazy, man.
So it's
And
like we're
those,
playing real Monopoly over here.
and those are some good looking homes too, man.
Oh yeah, we came in and we renovated them, man, and made it nice. Now we had a tree to fall on this fence over here, but we met with a guy and they're gonna come over, they're gonna redo it. And Charles, the thing is, everything over here rents for 700 and better.
So
So you do those numbers.
I think we're gonna get into the details of how you're able to do that. Let me kick off
Let's
this
get it.
intro, and then we're going to dig in because I'm interested. I know Rashana is interested. And I know our listeners are interested because we are live on YouTube right now. So we're gonna do some really cool stuff. So this is the. I gotta turn off my. I'm making money over here. This is the Oglesby and Scott show. My name is Charles Oglesby, also known as Todd Millionaire, here with Miss Rashana Scott, the Realtor of the Year, Chicago's #1 realtor. How you doing, Miss Rashana?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm blessed. Just grinding. Just got back from a great conference. Interestingly enough, our guest is somebody that I met at the conference for the first time. He was there as a guest of Mr. Lamont Woods. And we were just talking. And Lamont was like, hey, man, you got to get my boy on the podcast. You got to get my boy on the podcast. And I was like, all right, just here's the link. Contact the assistant. She'll get you in. I didn't expect him to book this week. He booked this week. So, I mean, I think that speaks to his mindset, his character. A lot of people would have put it off and like, oh, well, in 2 months, I'll get on there. I got to be ready. He was like, nah, like, let's get it. So you guys are definitely in for a treat. This brother goes by the name of Jeremy Taylor. He is a real estate investor in the Louisiana market, Monroe, Louisiana, to be exact. He has 85 units. I want to say he owns like more than one community, right? You own like 5 communities or something like that?
5 blocks.
Yeah, 5 blocks. So when people say buying the block, they're talking about this brother right here. So you guys are definitely in for a treat. Welcome to the show, man.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
So we like to start off each interview just asking our guests to let us know a little bit about what life was like growing up. Who are you? Where'd you come from? Basically, and the reason why we ask that question, I feel like it's so generic and we start off every interview that way. But the main reason is because there's so many followers and listeners who can relate, right? Like we read the bio and we see the success and we see all of these things that you've accomplished, but we want to know, tell us where you started and what that looked like, because I guarantee there's somebody out there that your story will inspire. So let's start there. Tell us about yourself.
So my name is Jeremy Taylor, and I'm actually from Monroe, Louisiana. 32 years of age. I was born in a family of 8, actually 9, because my mom adopted my other brother. So we grew up, I wouldn't say poor, but we grew up in low class low class income areas. My mom cleaned houses for a living. And we didn't come from any riches or with any silver spoon or anything of that nature. I was just a typical neighborhood kid. Grew up around everything typically that you would see in the neighborhood, from drugs, gun violence, to different things of that nature. And so I would grow up to become a good high school athlete that would later go on to college. I graduated college in 2012 with my bachelor's, and then I went back and got my master's in 2013. And can y'all hear that dog?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, I'm gonna step inside my truck. Inside my truck. Well, no, I'll go to the back inside the unit. I'm sorry. But like I said, it's a typical situation. I went on to college. I graduated 2012 with my bachelor's. I then turned around and graduated in 2013 with my master's in criminal justice. I also have a minor in accounting. I wanted to become a U.S. Marshal intern. Become U.S. Marshal of Louisiana to apply, and I was later hit with a situation where they did a freeze. I started working a couple of dead-end jobs.
You have a good signal inside of the house. I need you just walked in the house. Your signal ran out really bad.
Yeah.
Jeez. See? Hey, I will sit in the truck. I'm sorry. Hello?
Yep.
Okay, I'm sorry. So I'm back. I was in the truck. I apologize, Todd. So I have like I said, a situation where I came and I moved to Shreveport because my wife was here. She wasn't my wife at the time. She was in nursing school and I became a teacher. And I taught middle school and high school for 4 years, from 2012 to 2016. And in between teaching, I picked up a couple other jobs. Todd, I was in between Coca-Cola, merchandising for Coca-Cola. I was doing mental health counseling. I had started a trucking company. I had started a lawn service. I had opened my own mental health agency, and I did a couple things of that nature. And so one day, I overheard an older guy. He was talking about adjudicated properties. And so when we was talking, I was like, hey, what's that? And so he told me to go down to the courthouse and inquire. He didn't tell me anything about it. He just told me to go inquire. And so when I went and inquired, I couldn't believe what they told me. They was explaining that you can get properties right at right for $1, if nobody, actually bid it against you in an open table setting. And so I actually went and applied. The application was $300. And so I took my last $300. And again, as a permanent sub, I was getting paid $100 a day. And so I took $300 and I went and applied. Well, I started driving. Then I didn't know that I was driving for dollars, but I started driving for dollars. And so while I was driving for dollars, I found this property. And it's actually one of the houses that I just showed you on the street. So one of the first houses that I ever bought, I was just randomly driving and I jumped into it. I just said, hey, I'm gonna apply for this house. Well, the way our adjudicated auction deal went was that you sat inside of a room around the table and you had the guy. It'll be an open session. It'll be an open bid session, and everything starts at $1. And so, well, this one guy, he ran the price up on the house to $16,600. So I was $16,601, and so he finally backed out. Well, I ended up purchasing the property for $16,660 because I had to pay a $59 court fee. So when I paid the fees, that was the first property we ever got. How I got the money, I got into a car accident because they give you 6 months to actually come up with the money. So the car accident, with the car accident happening, I was able to come up with the $16,660. So when I bought the property, it was adjudicated. And many people don't understand the difference between adjudicated properties and clear title properties. Well, the adjudicated property, we thought we was going to be able to take to the bank and leverage. They then came and explained to us, hey, it has a clouded title and you're just an interest holder. So an interest holder is someone who has 100% interest in the property and full rights to the property, but they don't have the clear title to the property. The owner, the title holder, has not signed his or her interest over. So when we were hit with that, we was like, oh, shit, we got $16,660 invested in this one property. We need to figure out how to go about clearing the title. In our situation, we were fortunate to have the original title holder actually stay next door. And so the original title holder, with him staying next door, he signed his interest over to me. And Charles, has been history ever since then.
There's a lot to break down in there. I'm curious, before we dig into the details, what made him want to sign the title over to you? Like, what'd you say to convince him to do that?
He lost all of his other properties due to tax sales and adjudication. He actually has he was a second generation rich kid. He has a son who's not doing anything. His dad left him the properties. So his dad was dead. His son was on meth and different drugs and things of that nature. And he was just like, hey, man, I'm not going to stop you at this point.
Yeah. Don't they say, what do they call it? Like from short sleeves or something, the short sleeves in 3 generations. So it's like one generation makes it, the other generation kind of mismanaged it, and then the third generation's just left with nothing. It's like you seen it in real life.
Just left with nothing, right? And so unfortunately, that was their situation.
So you said you bought this house for 16 grand. What was it worth?
When we first purchased it, it was worth 90,000. We purchased it back in, we applied for it in 2016. We actually closed on it in February 2017. So when we closed on it in February 2017, it was worth 90,000. Wow. Well, today, 4 years later, that same property is worth 160,000.
And you rent it out.
The market value is going up and up and up and up.
And you're renting this home out?
Yes. So the original rents that we got on this first property, each side was renting. Well, one side was only one unit rented, and it was rented for $325. And so we went in and we renovated the other side where we said, okay, well, we'll raise the rents up to $500. And then it's like, hey, we started buying. And so I actually started getting into the full renovation mode. And I actually flipped my first home in 2017 as well. So when I flipped my first home, I said, hey, I'm cheating people. If it's something that, I want to make it to where I would lay my own head in if I had to, right? I'm not saying that I'm putting the material that I would put in my personal house because someone else may not take care of it like I will, but I would make it nice enough for me if I had to stay there. If my daughter had to stay there, I would put my daughter there, right? So I started doing that. So in situations now, here we are, 2017, you typically had, I don't know if you're familiar with a shotgun house. Are you familiar with a shotgun house?
I think I might have seen them. But you can explain
Okay,
it to us.
I'll describe it. A shotgun house is when you walk in the front door, you're in the living room. And then the next, and it's no hallway. So you're in the living room, you're in the dining room, you're in the kitchen, you see the bathroom, and then you see the bedroom. Everything is straight back. And
Interesting.
so, ma'am,
I said interesting.
right. And so it's a situation where the house was built like a shotgun home. Well, in 2018, after we did the flip, well, no, I'm sorry, 2020, it was 2020, I'm sorry, no, 2019, 2020, after we actually did our flips, we did a couple flips and we said that, hey, we can, do things this way. We took and we reconfigured the whole building. And so in before we reconfigured that building in 2018, 2019, I bought my wife a home for her birthday. I was like, hey, I'm not gonna get you the usual gift this year. So I'm gonna get you a duplex for your birthday. That's the gift they keep on giving, right?
That's smart.
So I bought her a house for $29,000. I didn't get her a Benz or a Coach bag. What the name of them Birkin bags? I didn't get her a Birkin bag. She'd rather a house. So I got her a house. We went through the renovations. And as we were going through the renovations, that duplex was renting for, I think it was like $450 at the time. But we went in and we made it nice. We did can lights, granite countertops, new tile in the kitchen, porcelain tile throughout the kitchen and bathroom. Kind of like a water flow type deal, nice laminate floors, and central AC and heat. So we were able to lift the rent from $450 up to $700 a month. Well, I said, hey, I like this. Why don't I put all of my units on this scale? Well, in that unit, it was like a shotgun unit as well. So I said, I'd rather provide privacy. And so then that's when I got into the moving of the walls and reconfigurations and different things of that nature. So all of my units, I can actually say they are dope now. All of them.
Man, so you bought your wife a house with what's the strategy so that she can live off of the income, so that she can have the equity that you're able to build in with the renovations? What's the strategy when it comes to building or buying a house for your wife?
Well, when you buy the house for your wife, me personally, that's our refinance phase, right? And so it was okay for us to pull the full 80% off of that house. We purchased it for 29. It appraised at 115. The bank gave us 93,000, and I think the budget for the building was for like $30,000, 15,000 aside. So she was able to take that cash and do whatever she wanted with it. But I wanted her to understand that not only can you take this cash, but the house is going to pay you dividends every month. So the mortgage on that $87,000 property is only like $600, right? We're getting $1,400 a month. So one side is paying all the overhead, literally. When I say all the overhead, that's taxes, insurance, and notes. And it covers maintenance and vacancy. The overhead only is only like $700 a month. It's cheap. And so she's able to take that other 700 and she can do as she please. Reinvest it. Now, my wife loves to do this thing called reselling. So she loves to, clear and shop and then resell it on her website or on her Facebook page. So that's another form of income for her. So she just loves the hustle now. I introduced her to real and now she hate lame.
What? Oh, I got what you said. This guy is actually a really funny guy. He was making jokes the whole weekend. He's being serious now, but the whole time he was in Arkansas, he was just making jokes. Man, so we talked about that first house and you said we were off from there. What do those next deals look like for you?
Man, it was a roller coaster ride, Charles. I had my ups and downs. I wouldn't just tell you that everything was copacetic. Um, in 2019, that was one of my worst years. I had went through a lot. Well, 2018, 2019, I had went through a lot. Um, I had a broke man's mind state, Charles, and so I was one of those types that wrote everything off on your taxes in order to get a tax return, right? So I was still in the I was still in the mindset, and there's no disrespect to anybody who get a tax return, but rich people don't get tax returns, Charles. You either break even or you pay out a few dollars, right? And so what happens is in 2018, um, my tax accountant, he asked me, he said, Jeremy, if you write all this off, you're looking at like a $13,000 tax return. And I say, what? I said, give it to me. He asked me, he said, are you sure? And I said, yeah, I'll worry about the consequences later on. Being a smart ass, Charles. And so the consequences were that no bank wanted to lend to me because I was showing such a big loss. And so I struggled, right? I was, it made me become a creative investor. Um, I got introduced to owner finances. I feel like I can talk anyone out of their property because every property has a value. I feel like I can talk anyone out of their property into an owner finance deal or into just regular financing deal, because cash make you move. And this lady name is Linda. We had a free and clear house, and she gave me a revolving line of credit of 25,000. Todd, I took that 25,000 and I turned it to $1 million. So with that 25,000, I'll walk you through the deals that I bought.
Let's do it.
So you wanted to know about the deals and how they go. So we had $25,000. Well, this one guy had a house that I wanted. And he said, man, I'll sell it to you for 30,000. I said, man, I ain't got it. I said, all I got is 25. I really only got 20 after closing costs, 22. So I said, I tell you what, Doc. I said, why don't I give you $20,000 cash? We put it in escrow. And after I do the cash out refinance, I give you your other $10,000 at closing before we even leave. You get your check. Put $20,000 in the man's hand, he ain't gonna walk off from it. So I closed that deal just like that. And so when I got that deal, it had a tenant in it. We only had a $30,000 mortgage on it because we only pulled 30,000 out. And we paid him. That house was rented for $700 a month. So then we came back. I went around the corner to the first house that I ever bought, and I said, "Hey man, I'm gonna look the owner up to this house next door to mine." And so when I looked that owner up, I ended up saying that she was interested in selling. Well, she wanted to sell her house for $42,500. Now, mind you, Charles, I'm still only paying with $20,000, right? That 20,000 I put in her hand again, or in another woman's hand, and I told her the same thing. I said, "Listen, let me give you 20,000 up front. I'll give you the other 22,500 at the closing table." Guess what? She went for it. So that house, between both, the first house ended up appraising at 87,000. This house that I bought for 42,000 ended up appraising at 130.
With no work put into them.
With no work put into them.
Wow.
Because in our market, they give you what we call the after repair value. So with them giving you the after repair value, before you swing a hammer, the bank will lend you 80% loan to value.
Wow.
And so that's one great thing about our market, right? And so we bought the house for 30, it came back at 87. We bought the house for 42, it came back at 130. So 130 and 87 put you at 207, correct? Or 217?
217. Yeah.
217. So now you come back and you take the apartment complex that I just showed you. We bought the apartment complex for $97,000. The apartment complex alone appraises for $400,000, Charles. And so, and it rents, each unit rents for $500 a month, because they are 1 bedroom. But once we actually do rehabs, we'll be able to jump those rents up to $650 a month. So if you take 300, if you take 217,400, that's 617, right?
Yep.
Okay. So then we bought this property 160 East Lister. It's on up the street. Well, that property we bought for $17,000. 17,000. Take a wild guess at what you think it'll appraise at. It's a triplex now.
150.
160. $17,000 investment. Get back at 160.
Are these the tax? Are you buying them at like the same adjudicated type deal?
No. Well, 160 was an MLS. But the other ones, Charles, I do most of my deals just word of mouth. Like I drive for dollars. Like I'm always driving for dollars. And so what happens is I like to acquire in one area. When I know the area, I'm trying to acquire as much as I can in that area. Now, mind you, a lot of these are, damn near turnkey properties. The 6-unit apartment complex, when I bought it, I put no money down. I actually owner financed it originally, and we refinanced it through the bank. And I put no money down. 5 tenants out of 6 units.
So you're getting it under contract at a certain price, and then at the closing table, you're getting a loan for the true value of the property, paying off the other person, and then keeping the rest.
There you go.
No rehab at all.
No rehab at all. So I'll explain to you how that process goes. So when you buy a deal, all right, you're looking at a situation where you're always taking the after repair value into consideration, because the banks lend you 80% loan to value. And I'm not saying every bank do this, but my bank, they'll loan you or lend you 80% loan to value of the after repair value. And that's when the appraiser comes out. You're going to draw up a description of how you're going to actually come in and renovate the property. And so anything that we put in the description, we actually do. Like we actually got granite countertops in our properties, marble porcelain tile in the bathrooms. What is it called? I can't think of the name of the backsplash, but it's the way we shop that allows us to be able to afford these type of renovations.
So let's talk about that. And could you give us some tips on shopping correctly? Because I don't think we talk about this on the podcast ever. Let's get into that.
Shopping correctly means, man, don't be so quick to just go buy the first thing you see, right? Network within the people around you. They actually have these groups on Facebook, and it's this website. It's this website called Brickseek. BRICK Seek. You follow me?
Brickseek?
Brickseek?
Brickseek.
Spell it again.
BRICK Seek.
Oh,
BRICK Seek.
Got it.
SE. Right. So now what happens is this website has clearance items on it. And so your local Lowe's stores and Home Depot stores and any other Walmarts and stores around you, they have clearance. They have items on clearance that you don't know about because they haven't been marked down on the shelf yet. And so you have to kind of do your homework to find these items that has been marked down that you can typically benefit from. So from TVs to surround sounds to blenders, home improvement material, Todd, we get it all for cheap. It's hard for me to really go into the store and pay full price for something when I know that I can typically find it on BrickSeek and pay way less than what it's worth.
Yeah. Because you might be able to get something that's high quality. It might not be the most flyest design or whatever, but the quality is there, right? So it's like they're just happy got granite countertops. They got nice looking floors. It might be brown when they maybe have wanted gray, but I'm gonna take a quality gray floor or a quality brown floor over a lower quality of maybe the most precise one that I would want.
Oh yeah, any day. If the service wasn't bad, I'll show you the bathrooms inside of these units, and you'll be like, "Hey man, like what you pay for it?" Well, a typical bathroom remodel cost me maybe like $600, and that's including tile. The labor is only $350, right?
Where are you gonna do this stuff, man?
My workers, I got some workers that's working with me, Todd. You inspire me, man. You said, man, look, this is a business. When we was down there, and you said, man, like I'm running a business, like, and you got to run it and you got to operate it like a business. And when you said that to me, this is no lie. Sunday on my way home, I called my wife and said, hey, I'm taking this Google Voice app off my phone today. I will no longer answer any phone calls. And I haven't answered a phone call since Sunday, Todd. No lie. I'm telling you, I was listening to everything that you were saying down there, and I promise you, me and my brother, Lamont, man, we talk about systems all the time, but just being in a room with you guys made me feel a certain way. It was like, hey man, I'm not the biggest person in the room. Nobody's feeling like they're the biggest person in the room, and everybody is sharing and dropping information. And so the scale that you guys were on, all of you guys have someone working for you around you. I'm the only one that was still, swinging a hammer, like physically doing labor. And so I said, man, excuse my French. I said, damn that. I'm not swinging nothing else. So I've been putting, systems in place. But I actually have a crew that's been working before then. So the shopping, Todd, it, like I say, it consists of clearance shopping, man, and like you have to kind of be patient with it a little bit, but it's worth it in the end. So our project budget, material budget, we didn't cut it by like 84%, my wife was telling me. Wow. Because we find tile that's typically $5 a tile, we get it for 55 cents. Right? Backsplash, that's typically $14 a piece. We getting for $1.75. Wow. Ceiling fans that cost $125, we getting for $20. Todd, I'll never forget that day. We went in Lowe's and we bought, it was like 30 ceiling fans. I said, hey, give me all of them. And they know me by name now. And so when I walk in there, they be like, what all you finna buy? Hey, Mr. Jeremy, what all you finna buy? And so like, Lowe's is a store that we kill. I love Lowe's. Lowe's always have clearance items. Allen and Roth, they about to sponsor me. That's a Lowe's brand. So Allen and Roth is thinking about sponsoring me because we buy so much material, so much Allen and Roth material. And so we buy $400 vanities for $55. But it's about how we shop, right? Jeez. It's about how we shop. Let me see if my service isn't bad. If it doesn't get bad, I want to show you this bathroom. And this bathroom cost me literally $600. It's almost finished being remodeled. You see the tile?
Oh, that's nice. That's really nice.
And then, so this is a $400 vanity, right? $400 heavy duty vanity. And we got toilets and different things of that nature. Like this is $2 and some cent porcelain that we got for 55 cents. kind of got a marble finish.
So it's like part of the strategy is while you're bargain shopping, thinking of how you can tie it all together. Because it's not like
Correct. You always try.
because it's
What you
not
say,
like
Todd?
I was gonna say because it's not like a situation where like if you're just going straight to Home Depot, you're just picking whatever you like, whatever you love. But if you're trying to get your
Correct.
costs down, you might be pulling from things that you're like, okay, like they don't have the exact tile I want, but this will look dope because that's some dope tile, man. I think that's fire. I'm not
True.
the creator. And so I think that's the gem for
Todd,
the
I
audience.
went in there and I bought it all. And you have the right mindset. Like you have to put yourself in a position where you're shopping a certain way and you're trying to piece things together. And it's a rental property. Just because it's a rental property doesn't mean it doesn't have to look good.
Right. And they appreciate that too.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I don't have a high turnover, Todd. That's one thing that me and my brother Lamont talk about a lot. The more units you get, the more calls you're supposed to get, right? I'm not saying that I don't get a lot of calls, but I don't get the typical calls that, a small landlord would receive, because I go in and I renovate a certain way, and I'm targeting a certain group of people. And so we always try to, like if we do it, we feel like if we do it right the first time, then we never have to come back.
I like it. Yeah.
And so that just makes it convenient.
So who put who on? Did you put Lamont on the real estate or Lamont put you on the real estate?
We kind of got into it. One second, Todd. I'm sorry. Hello?
Yeah, we're here.
Okay. So we got into it around the same time, and he got into it in the Monroe market, and I got market. And so it was more of a situation like he was like, Jeremy, do it this way. Jeremy, do it this way. I'll never forget. He was researching it. His wife, convinced him to go ahead and buy the first trailer, the first home that they were staying in. And so when he cashed out on it, we had bought our home in 2015. And so when they bought their home in 2015, 2016, he was just like, hey, man, like, no, I'm sorry. They bought their home in 2014, maybe. And we bought our home in 2015. And then they moved to their new home in 2016, 2017. But I would say, yeah, he made me just go ahead and say, Jeremy, stop bullshitting and go and go with your move. And that's something that I always say. But he was researching and he was like, man, but you can do this. Todd, I was the other hustler. I was the hustler that was into 100 things. He got one focus. And he was like, I'm gonna focus on this and be great at this. And he would always tell me, Jeremy, hey man, if you focus on this, man, you'll kill it. Just focus on this and be great at this. And so I took that wisdom from him. And when I actually slowed down and I focused on just that, oh, Todd, man, I killed it. I'll never forget that day I called him and told him that the bank gave me $76,000 on a $16,000 purchase.
So let's talk about banks.
Uh-huh.
Are you going with the same bank over and over again? Are you working with different banks? What kind of banks are these? Are these small community banks? The big national banks? What does your financing look like?
So I typically deal with small banks. I don't deal with any big banks. I don't do private money. I deal with small local banks. And I actually have a few banks that I deal with, but at this current time, I'm dealing with one banker, and his name is Jonathan Wall with Bank of Montgomery. And me and him like the, modern day LeBron and Anthony Davis. Like, we don't be bullshitting, y'all. Like, I make a purchase cash. we getting it refinanced within 2 weeks. We get the appraisal. Like I have a whole system: banker, appraiser, attorney. Like we closing it. Like we're not bullshit. And so what happens is I like to make cash purchases because you're always going in with leverage. If you make cash purchase, you're taking the asset to the bank. And so the bank sees me as an asset. And so small
Hold on,
banks,
hold on.
That was a
So,
bar. That was a
yeah,
bar.
instead of you going to the bank and telling the bank what you plan on doing, you're taking the bank the property and saying, this is what I own.
and this is what I'm going to do.
The conversation is different.
Right. Conversation is better. And so I always try to tell investors, man, leverage moves you differently, right?
Mhm.
Leverage make you speak differently. And you just carry yourself differently, like because you're saying that, hey, this is me. I know you want I want your business, but I know you want my business more. And so what
Yeah.
happens is, Todd, Charles, to be honest, I've never did a 15 or 20% down payment. I've never did that. But I've almost experienced those type of situations. Any property that I've bought, I've negotiated it to where I could pay cash for it. And if I couldn't pay the full cash price up front, then I would give you the remaining balance of your cash on the cash out refinance or the revolving line of credit.
Hold on.
And so go ahead.
So how do you get around the down payment?
Cash, baby.
I'm like,
Cash is king.
there is no down payment. He's paying cash. So I got a couple questions. So my first question is, since you are going in all cash on these deals, what's the most that you've ever paid for a property?
$62,000.
Okay. And then going back to, like you said, how you're structuring and leveraging these cash deals. So you're going to do like a purchase agreement essentially with the owner, but let's say the $60,000 deal, you would give them $30,000, and you would put $30,000 in escrow with the title company, and then they would get the remainder once you close, once you do the refi.
Correct. Now I only did 2 deals like that. I haven't did, and the 2 deals that I did were actually, like I say, it was out of strategy because remember, Todd, I told you I only had a $25,000 revolving line of credit, and I really only had $22,000 after closing costs.
Nice. I also wanted to ask, so how did you first start building your relationship with the bank? Because I think that's so important. Like we talk about that all the time. Leveraging, like you said, banks, but more importantly, like you said, smaller banks, because you don't go through the big banks. How did you start, those relationships?
I'm a people person. So it's nothing for me to go inside of a bank and strike a conversation, right? And so when I go inside of the bank, like how I met Todd, I don't meet a stranger. And, we start holding conversations. And I figure out the best way I can to, relate to your situation as a banker, as a lender. And so I want you to relate to me as an investor. And so with me wanting you to relate to me as an investor, I'm going to do what it takes to make sure that we have this understanding. And so again, with me being a cash buyer, going inside of the bank with leverage, well, that banker is going to say, okay, well, show me what you got. And I'm never underprepared. I'm overprepared. And my deals are written out to the T to where I'm showing you, cost breakdown. I'm showing you taxes, insurance, maintenance, and vacancy. I'm showing you everything it is that, the typical deal will consist of. And so with me putting myself in that position, that's relationship building. 1. 2, I never lie to the bank. I'm always straightforward. Hey, listen, This is what we can do. This is what I have. This is what I need. This is what I'm gonna do. And so if you're being honest with them up front and you're telling them your position, sometimes it works. I'm aggressive like that. So they got the saying, you live by the gun, you die by the gun. So with me being aggressive in that manner, it has always worked for me. Between Jonathan, Angela, Brian, RJ, none of those guys and young ladies have ever let me down because I've never let them down. I've always stuck by what I said, and I've always came through and made it happen.
Oh, we're coming up on time, so I'm gonna ask you our last few wrap-up questions. And what we should do is also get an Instagram live so we can also ask, because there's always more questions that we can ask. So let's get that on the calendar, man. Let's do an Instagram live on the calendar.
Whenever you're ready, man.
Yeah, let's do that. So our first
Next time
question.
I'll be at home, Todd.
Rashana would like that. Women.
I apologize.
But it was dope seeing your work actually in person, because sometimes you can hear about what people are doing and it sounds cool, but you actually was like, nah, that's me. So people are gonna get a ton of value out of that. The first question is, who is somebody that you look up to and why?
One person that I look up to the most is my brother Lamont. We grew up together. We came from the same cloth. Like we motivate each other. The way we push each other, man, we always there. Like he always there for me. I'm always there for him. It's never a dull moment. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have our bumps and bruises. We ain't perfect. But at the end of the day, we know what it's about. He called me on my wrongdoings. He always tell me, if he called me on my wrongdoings, and tell me what I need to be doing right and how I can do it better. And just in his opinion. And he hold me accountable. Yep. He doesn't let me, F off and, sit up and be full of BS or whatever. So if Jeremy said you're gonna do something, hey man, like what's the turnout? Like, make it happen. So I love my bro.
Did you go to Grambling?
I did, Grambling State University.
That's where you
the
did
only college.
You did undergrad and grad school there.
Huh?
You did undergrad and grad school there?
I did undergraduate and I finished in 2012 with my bachelor's and a minor in accounting. Criminal justice and a minor in accounting, and then I got my master's in criminal justice.
Did you play football there?
I didn't.
Okay. Did you pledge there?
Unfortunately, I was an asshole.
Did you pledge?
Huh?
Did you go Greek?
No, I did the pre-line deal, and they was whooping my ass, Charles. And I don't know if I can do that.
Which organization, if you don't mind me asking?
If I had to pledge, I would pledge Omega.
Yeah, I was gonna say you seem like an Omega type of person, man.
Bro.
What's the next question, Rashana?
So what is your favorite real estate or business book?
Think and Grow Rich. Think and Grow Rich is a Bible to me. I'm not the religious type. I don't, whatever, knock it. But, just a study book for me. Think and Grow Rich. I listen to Think and Grow Rich whenever I'm on a long ride, when I was on my way to Arkansas and when I was on my way back from Arkansas. I play Think and Grow Rich. It's literally like it's a life book for me.
Nice.
What does wealth mean to you? What does wealth mean to you?
What does wealth mean to me? Wealth is not worrying. A lot of people think rich is wealth. Rich is not wealth. You can be rich for the moment.
That's a part.
Wealth is long term.
For sure.
And so I try telling people, man, that Charles, I'm not the flashy type, Miss Roshana, Miss Scott. I'm not the flashy type. You don't see me with the $500 shoes and the $80,000 car right now. Notice I said right now. I was the guy who was buying all the shoes and clothes, but I ended up understanding that that didn't mean anything to me at this moment because, I got something bigger in mind. And so wealth is when I can wake up and go get in my Rolls Royce on my 120 acres and drive around my big drive through, my big parking lot and go to my big office building, park in front and be a boss at my own restaurant. Like that's wealth to me. And I'm not worried about anything. I have I'm not clocking. I'm not worried. I'm speaking to one person, and that's my bookkeeper and my wife. And I'm making sure my numbers are straight. I'm not in tab with all these other people. I'm
Right.
trying to be
Right.
like Todd. I want to have a business.
Rashana taught me everything I know.
Well, hell, Rashawn, I need to tap in with you then. If you the GOAT.
Last question is, so what do you think sets apart successful investors from those who give up, fail, and never get started?
It's two things to me. Delayed gratification is one because a lot of people want to celebrate their wins too big, too quick. I don't think they understand that, it's okay to, celebrate, but celebrate for the moment. And remember, you got to get back to it. There's more business to be done, right? Delayed gratification is one. And another thing is actually, pushing through the struggle phase. Like a lot of people want it to be overnight success. I think Instagram and Facebook has, messed a lot of people's mind up when it comes to that. They think that everything is supposed to happen like right now. Um, Real estate is definitely a long-term investment. I know I was listening to Charles, and when Charles was talking to me, man, and he was telling me about, the books and, the different things that he said something to me that moved me. He was like, Jeremy, man, you're limiting yourself to, the number of doors you have. He was like, but man, if you get on the internet, you open yourself up to millions. And in my mind, as soon as he said it, I was just like, well, damn, I've been closed minded for quite some time. And so like people don't understand that, like, like pushing through the struggle. Charles didn't build his business, overnight. He built it over time. And I'm not saying that I can build what Charles has built overnight. If I actually want to do it, which I am taking heed to everything that they told me, then I actually have to push through and struggle a little bit and, like get to that phase. So I'm okay with struggling. A lot of people is not okay with struggling. So they don't get there. So delayed gratification and struggle.
Definitely. I love it. I'm definitely okay with the struggle.
We've all been there.
Last question is, where can people find you? Where can they follow you? And where can they support what you have going on?
Man, you can find me on Instagram at JTMoney07, all lowercase. And then you can find me on Facebook at Jeremy Taylor. Well, my name is Jeremy Taylor. And also you can go follow my hashtag, man. We just want closure. Charles, I don't know if you've seen my shirt or not, man, but it had "We Just Want Closure" on it.
Mm-hmm.
Remember I asked you about a trademark?
I think you
I
did,
have a
yeah.
trademark. I have a trademark. We just want closure. And I'll give you a brief story if I have time. Do I have time?
Very little time. We got to be quick.
Oh,
but I definitely.
Okay. So we just want closure is a trademark that represents not only just real estate but closure in life in general. Anything it is that you're seeking closure on. Closure is a peace of mind, and a peace of mind gives everyone, like it's like a freedom, is a relief, a feeling. So when you hear "we just want closure," think about anything that you want closure in, and just tell yourself, man, hey, I want closure, and go get it.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Dope interview. Make sure you guys check out all of his pages. We will have all the links inside of the bio. This episode should be coming out soon. Donna the Voice has been kicking these episodes out like crazy. So shout out to him. We got him running the whole operation now. All we do is record and go away. So it allows us to record more. But thank you for the valuable information. I definitely learned a ton. I'm definitely taking action on the things that I did here. And that first thing we're taking action on is buying your wife a house. Cause that was just mine. Like, I mean, I bought my son a house, but like sometimes you don't think to, I don't know, I'm gonna get my wife a house too. She needs a house. Get your wife a
Buy
house.
your wife that house, man. Hey, switch the game up, Todd. Don't get her a purse.
It might be in Monroe, Louisiana, or Shreveport. I might be out there near y'all, man.
Come get one. Hot Dog told me you coming. I'm coming your way too when you come this way.
We're gonna make
Don't
it happen.
buy the Birkin, buy the building.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't buy the Birkin, buy the
Miss
building.
Scott. What you say? Bars.
Dope episode, man.
Thank you so much for coming on. This was a great interview. Thanks for sharing all of the gems, sharing your story of how you got started and how you're using your cash to leverage your deals and buy properties as cheap as possible. And, the leverage that you've been able to create with the bank. So much valuable information there. So thanks so much for coming on.
I'm Charles Oglesby,
Thank y'all
also
for
known
having
as
me.
Top Millionaire.